Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanang Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Deving Sarasating Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraya Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nittang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Today we selected a special verse from the same chapter, the 30th chapter of the 4th canto, because this verse is glorifying Lord Shiva, and many of you are visiting Lord Shiva's Dham, Mahakal Ishwar. So this is the 38th verse of the 30th chapter of 4th canto. This chapter is entitled as The Activities of the Prachetas. Bayang tu shakshad Bhagavan bhavasya priyasya sakhyu kshana sangamena suduschikitsasya bhavasya mrittor bhishaktamam twadya gatim gataha sma. Vayam tu shakshad Bhagavan bhavasya priyasya sakhyu kshana sangamena suduschikitsasya bhavasya mrittor bhishaktamang tadagating gatasma. Vayang tu shakshad Bhagavan bhavasya priyasya sakhyu kshana sangamena suduschikitsasya bhavasya mrittor bhishat kamang tadagating gatasma. Vayang tu shakshad Bhagavan bhavasya priyasya sakhyu kshana sangamena suduschikitsasya bhavasya mrittur bhishat kamang tadagating gatasma. Vayang tu shakshad Bhagavan bhavasya sakhyu kshana sangamena Suduschikitsasya bhavasya mrittu Bhishaktamang tadagati tasma. Mataji's Priyasya Sakhu Kshana Sangamena Suduschikitsasya Bhavasya Mrittu Bhishat kamantadagatingatasma. Bayam, we. To, then. Shakshad, directly. Bhagavan, O Lord. Bhavasya, of Lord Shiva. Priyasya, very dear. Sakhu, your friend. Kshana, for a moment. Sangamena, by association. Suduschikitsasya, very difficult to cure. Bhavasya, of material existence. Mrittu, of death. Bhishaktamam, the most expert physician. Tva, you. Adya, today. Gatim, destination. Gataha, have achieved. Sma, certainly. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Dear Lord, by virtue of a moment's association with Lord Shiva, who is very dear to you and who is your most intimate friend, we are fortunate to attain you. You are the most expert physician, capable of treating the incurable disease of material existence. On account of our great fortune, we have been able to take shelter at your lotus feet. Please repeat after me. Dear Lord, by virtue of a moment's association with Lord Shiva, who is very dear to you and who is your most intimate friend, we are fortunate to attain you. You are the most expert physician, capable of treating the incurable disease of material existence. On account of our great fortune, we have been able to take shelter at your lotus feet. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It has been said, Haring Vinana Shritim Taranti. Without taking shelter of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, one cannot attain relief from the clutches of Maya, the repetition of birth, old age, disease, and death. The Prachetas received the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the grace of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a supreme devotee of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vaishnavanam Jatha Sambhu. The most exalted Vaishnava is Lord Shiva, and those who are actually devotees of Lord Shiva follow Lord Shiva's advice and take shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. The so-called devotees of Lord Shiva, who are simply after material prosperity, are in a way deceived by Lord Shiva. He does not actually deceive them, because Lord Shiva has no business deceiving people. But because the so-called devotees of Lord Shiva want to be deceived, Lord Shiva, who is very easily pleased, allows them all kinds of material benedictions. These benedictions might ironically result in the destruction of the so-called devotees. For instance, Ravana took all material benedictions from Lord Shiva. But the result was that he was ultimately destroyed with his family, kingdom, and everything else because he misused Lord Shiva's benediction. Because of his material power, he became very proud and puffed up, so that he dared kidnap the wife of Lord Ramchandra. In this way, he was ruined. To get material benedictions from Lord Shiva is not difficult, but actually these are not benedictions. The Prachetas received benedictions from Lord Shiva, and as a result, they attained the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. This is real benediction. The gopis also worship Lord Shiva in Vrindavan, and the Lord is still staying there as Gopishwar. The gopis, however, prayed that Lord Shiva bless them by giving them Lord Krishna as their husband. There is no harm in worshipping the demigods, provided that one's aim is to return home back to Godhead. Okay, so I'll just discuss up to this far. So, the Prachetas, the 10 sons of King Prachina Barhi, were instructed by their father to get married, enter into household life. So, upon receiving that instruction, the Prachetas, the 10 sons of King Prachina Barhishat, they decided to become qualified to enter into household life. So in this way we can see that in the Vedic culture, the custom is that in order to enter into household life, one needs to become qualified. And it has also been mentioned in the Vedas that in order to become proper householder, one first has to become a good brahmachari. Only good brahmacharis make proper householders. So here we see that the Prachetas considered of acquiring proper qualification before entering into household life. And while they were traveling to the west, they came across a beautiful lake which was filled with various types of lotuses and the water birds like swan, cranes, chakravaks, etc. And then from that water came Lord Shiva. He emerged from that water. And Lord Shiva instructed them on the prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead called the Rudra Gita. Rudra is another name of Lord Shiva, and the song that he sang in glorification of the Lord is called Rudra Gita. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimhadev ki Jai. And being instructed by Lord Shiva in this way, the Prachetas performed severe austerities, meditating upon the mantra. So here we can see the actual austerity is to meditate upon the mantra. And as a result of that meditation of the mantra, one begins to lose his material attachments. By developing one's attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one develops detachment to material things. It's a natural development. Bhakti parishanubhava viraktir annatra. As by devotion one develops his attachment to devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he develops viraktir annatra. Annatra means anything other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his domain, spiritual sky. The material nature is there. One is naturally attracted to the material nature. That attraction is natural, and it cannot be given up artificially. This has also been pointed out in the Vedic scriptures very elaborately and very clearly. Like giving up material attachment is not possible unless and until one develops the positive attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Material nature's allurement and involvement has certain pleasure, provides certain enjoyment. And that allurement for enjoyment can be given up only by getting the higher taste. The parang drishtva nivartante. Nivartante, one desists, one abstains from parang drishta, getting the superior or higher taste. We can see, like, say for example, a child becomes attached to the toys. Now you tell the child, don't be attached to your child, it is Maya. What will the child say? He'll simply cry. If you take the toy away from him or force him to give up his attachment to the toy, he will simply cry. But if you give him a higher taste, like when he grows up, then he gets some other taste which is higher than playing with the toys. So a child is attached to his toy, but when the child grows up and gets his video games, then he loses his taste for playing with the toys. The same principle is actually valid in all respects. When one gets the higher taste, then only one can give up the lower taste. I remember in that respect, Srila Prabhupada gave an example once. He said that the children naturally have a tendency to eat mud, eat dirt. The children sometimes eat mud. Even Krishna ate mud. And he was complaining. Balaram complained to Mother Jashoda that Krishna ate mud. But Krishna denied, no, I did not. Then Mother Jashoda said, okay, open your mouth, let's see. And when Krishna opened his mouth, what did Mother Jashoda see? Mother Jashoda saw the entire creation within Krishna's mouth. Anyway, that is another thing. The point is, sometimes even Krishna eats mud. So, the child likes to eat mud while playing, picks up mud and eats it. So now, if you tell that you shouldn't eat mud, the child may not understand that. But if you wash the child's hand and give him a sweet gulab jamun, then what will happen? By getting the taste of the gulab jamun, he will not eat mud anymore. So, people generally want to have a higher taste in order to give up the lower taste. So the Prachetas were instructed this way by Lord Shiva to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And following that instruction, they also went under water. And they meditated upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chanting the mantra, Rudra Gita, for 10,000 years. It may sound, 10,000 years, how is it possible? But the thing is, in other ages, people had much longer duration of life. Our duration of life is 100 years at the most in Kali Yuga. In Dwapar Yuga, the duration was 1,000 years. In Treta Yuga, 10,000 years. And in Satya Yuga, 100,000 years. So this is an episode from that period. That means, in simple words, they spent 1/10 of their lives in meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to our calculation, it will amount to 10 years or so. Anyway, so then eventually the Prachetas received the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead came and gave them instruction, and that has been described in this chapter, the 30th chapter of the 4th canto. How the Lord came and blessed the Prachetas. And Prachetas, upon seeing the Lord, offered their prayers to Him. Beautiful prayers. And now they are actually admitting that it is by the mercy of Lord Shiva that it has been possible for them to have the audience of the Supreme Lord, to see the Lord face to face. So in this way also we can see in the Vedic scriptures, time and time again it has been pointed out that it is by the mercy of a devotee of the Lord that one receives the mercy of the Lord. It is impossible to receive the mercy of the Lord directly. It has to be received from or through a devotee of the Lord. And in their case, that devotee of the Lord was Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is considered in that respect as the greatest devotee of Krishna or Vishnu. Vaishnavanam Jatha Sambhu. Vaishnavanam meaning among the Vaishnavas, Jatha as Sambhu, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva's position among the Vaishnavas is very, very exalted. So now the consideration is here that they are addressing him, Lord Shiva, as a great devotee. Very, very exalted devotee. And they are also addressing Lord Shiva as Sakyu, your friend, Sakha. Lord Shiva is your friend. So in this way, we can see different identification of Lord Shiva. But who is Lord Shiva? Let us consider that. Who is Lord Shiva? Brahma Samhita actually described that very clearly. That way, Brahma Samhita is one book that gives the essence of the Vedic scriptures. This one chapter, this is the 5th chapter of Brahma Samhita, where Lord Brahma is actually glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. There in this chapter, in 56 verses, Brahma gave the perfect understanding. And that includes also different great personalities or demigods' relationship with Krishna. Like there is consideration of who is Ganesh, who is Indra, who is Mahamaya. And in this way also there is a description of Lord Shiva's relationship with Krishna or Govinda. And that has been explained in this way: Kshiram Jatha Dadhi Vikara Vishesha Jogat. Just as milk in contact with Vikara Vishesha Jogat, in contact with acid or yogurt, becomes yogurt. Dadhi. Milk becomes dadhi or yogurt. How? By the contact. Like, how many of you know how to make dahi? How do you make dahi? Let's hear Ananta Vijay. Yeah, very good. Ananta Vijay gave the perfect recipe for making yogurt, dahi. He even went to the extent of giving how hot the milk will be. He said, lukewarm. So those who want to make dahi, make the milk lukewarm, meaning little hot, not boiling hot. Just a little hot. And then you put some other culture in that, like some more yogurt in it, some little dahi in it. He even said 1 spoon. So you do that at night, and in the morning what will you find? You'll find that the milk has become dahi. So milk turns into yogurt by the contact with the culture. So similarly, Krishna or Vishnu has transformed himself into Lord Shiva. Just as milk is transformed into yogurt, in a similar way the Lord transforms himself into Lord Shiva. There is no difference in a way between Vishnu and Lord Shiva. But there is some difference also. The difference is the milk can become yogurt, but yogurt cannot become milk. So that is the difference. Now, Vishesha Sanjayate Nahi Tata Pithagasti Hetu Ja Sambhutamapi Tatha Samupaiti Karjad. Similarly, Lord has become Sambhu in order to achieve some very special mission, purpose. What is that mission? Just as Like material nature is Krishna's external energy. This Maya, Mahamaya is the material nature, personified material nature. Now, just as material nature, the Lord is not, Lord cannot, Krishna cannot deal directly with the material nature. Because if he directly deals with the material nature, then the material nature will not remain his external energy. It will become his internal energy, because it is in direct contact with him. Material, external energy, material nature, inferior energy, separated energy means it is separated from the Lord. It's not in direct contact with the Lord. Now Krishna cannot directly deal with the material nature. But when there is a need for dealing with the material nature, then he transforms himself into Lord Shiva, and through the agency of Lord Shiva, he deals with this material nature. So that is why we also see material nature, Mahamaya. Who is Mahamaya? Mahamaya is Durga or Kali. These are her various forms. Annapurna, Jagadhatri. So these are different forms of Mahamaya. Krishna's external energy personified. Now, who is the husband of Mahamaya? Who is the husband of Durga? Lord Shiva. So this is how we see that as Lord Shiva, he deals with the material nature. So that is the Samupaitik Arjad, to accomplish a special mission. And this is the principal reason of his becoming Shiva or Sambhu. Ja Sambhutam api tatha Samupaitik Arjad. So that way, in that way, we can see that Lord Shiva is an incarnation of Krishna. He is an incarnation. And also we see that Lord Shiva is a Gunavatar. To deal with material nature's mode of ignorance, he is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva deals with the mode of ignorance. Brahma deals with mode of passion. And Vishnu himself deals with mode of goodness. With the mode of passion, Brahma creates. In the mode of goodness, Vishnu maintains. And in the mode of ignorance, Lord Shiva destroys. So this is how the material nature, the activities of the material nature is conducted. So that is how Lord Shiva, the identity has been presented in the Vedic scriptures. Like he is non-different from Krishna. But at the same time, he is little different. And in the practical dealings, we see that Lord Shiva is functioning as a devotee. Lord Shiva is functioning sometimes as a friend of Krishna. But he always maintains his subordinate position, and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada pointed out that those so-called devotees of Lord Shiva are not devotees of Lord Shiva. That means those who approach Lord Shiva for some material benefit, they are not really the devotees of Lord Shiva, or nor do they receive the mercy of Lord Shiva. Like Prabhupada gave the example of Ravana. Ravan was a so-called devotee of Lord Shiva. But what did he want from Lord Shiva? Give me this, give me that. Make me immortal, so forth. But as a result of that, Lord Shiva, who is Ashutosh, who is very quickly pleased, fulfilled his desires. But what was the ultimate outcome of those fulfillment of those material desires? His own destruction along with his entire family and kingdom. So is it a benediction or is it a deception? Prabhupada is pointing out, Lord Shiva doesn't deceive anybody. But one himself gets deceived by desiring the wrong thing from Lord Shiva. There are so many such instances of different demons. And that one demon called Brikasura, he performed great austerities. Like he was cutting his flesh and offering it to oblation in favor of Lord Shiva. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimha Dev ki Jai. He was offering them, cutting his flesh, Om Namah Shivaya. Then finally Lord Shiva appeared and asked, what do you want? He said, give me the benediction that whosoever I place my hands on his head will immediately crack into 1,000 pieces. So Lord Shiva gave the benediction. Okay, if that is what you want, okay, fine. Now demons want this kind of destructive benedictions. And when he got the benediction from Lord Shiva, then he said, okay, how do I know that you gave the benediction? It will work. Let me try to test it on you. So, when Lord Shiva then ran, so he approached Vishnu and told him what happened. Vishnu said, Shiva, you should be careful about what kind of benediction you give. Don't just grant whatever one wants. Then he said, okay, don't worry, I'll take care of it. So, he assumed the form of a little boy. And he confronted Brikasura when he was running after Lord Shiva. So he asked this little boy, asked him, why are you running like this? He said, see, I, after such a great endeavor, I got this benediction from Lord Shiva and I wanted to taste it on him, but see, he's running away from me. So he said, what's the benediction? He said that whoever I place my hand on his head will crack into 1,000 pieces and he'll die. So he said, can anybody have such power? He really cheated you. It's not true. Of course, we have to understand that the Lord also works through his Yogamaya. Like, by the Yogamaya, due to the Yogamaya's influence, he lost his intelligence. He was that Brikasura was completely bewildered. And when he told him that it's not true, just see, put your hand on your own head and you will see. And due to the Yogamaya's influence, Brikasura did that. Put his hand on his own head, and what happened? It cracked into 1,000 pieces. So, so this is how we can see when people want wrong. What's the matter with this system? So he invited his own destruction by getting this wrong kind of benedictions. Whereas we see the prachetas, they are the real devotees of Lord Shiva. And they receive the right kind of benediction from him. Got the direction to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, when one approaches Lord Shiva, one should make it a point that he asks for Krishna Bhakti, favor from Krishna. Not dhanam dehi, janam dehi, etc., etc. Those things are only temporary and do not have any lasting result. So we should ask for something that will benefit us in a real way. So that is the way one should become a devotee of Lord Shiva. Like we have seen, like Brikasura, he is the devotee of Lord Shiva. But when he got the benediction from Lord Shiva, what was his mentality? Let me try it out on you. Whether you will die or not, that doesn't matter. Now, is it a devotee? Devotee means one who has genuine love for the person and renders or expresses that love by doing something. So that is the definition of devotion. Bhaj. Bhaj means expression of devotion, expression of love through some action. That love is expressed through action. Like we see the mother loves the child. What does the mother do? Embraces the child. And as a result of that, what happens? The milk flows from mother's breast. So these are the genuine outcome of love. So when one develops that love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that love is expressed through some actions. Like in the temple we see, the Lord is dressed and decorated so beautifully. That is the expression of devotees' love for the Lord. Then some devotees are cooking for the Lord. They are trying to cook the best possible preparation for the Lord. And then some devotees are offering that to the Lord. So these are all the expressions of love. And that is the difference between ISKCON devotees and other people, those who are also worshipping. We find, so there are some temples and some Brahmanas are worshipping. But the Brahmanas are getting their salary. Whereas in ISKCON, nobody gets any salary. It's all voluntary. And we can see the number. They're doing it for their love for the Lord. And when, with this devotion for Krishna, when we approach Lord Shiva becomes extremely pleased. And when Lord Shiva is pleased, Mother Parvati is pleased. And Mother Parvati, Durga, Mahamaya, is the controller of the material nature. So they will bestow all the benedictions upon the devotees of the Lord. So I have covered only this much. The other half of it is speaking about the demigods. Next verse, next half of Prabhupada's purport. Let me see, I'll cover that tomorrow maybe. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Does anybody have any question? Yes, Krishnarchan? Give the mic.
Hare Krishna. Before Prabhupada explains that devotees of Lord, so-called devotees of Lord Shiva who ask for material benedictions, they are cheated by Lord Shiva because they want.
They're deceived by Lord Shiva.
Yeah, deceived by Lord. Similarly, but in the case of Dhruva, although that he also approached Krishna for material benediction. But he wasn't deceived by Krishna. He was actually awarded.
Krishna doesn't deceive. Lord Shiva deceives when one once met. Because the demons worship Lord Shiva to get some impossible benedictions. Because Lord Shiva gives the benedictions very quickly. Asutosh. But one can approach Krishna with material desire. But because he is approaching Krishna, the outcome will be different. And one can also approach Lord Shiva with material benediction for material gain. That is all right. But that should not be the ultimate consideration. Like the ultimate consideration should be to ask for devotion to Krishna. Okay, there are some questions from the internet. So one question is from Phoenix. Hare Krishna Maharaj, who is the husband of Katyayani? Why do gopis worship her? Yeah, Katyayani is Durga. So who is the husband of Durga? Dasanudas? The question? Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the husband of Katyayani also. Nanda Dulal Das from Toaco. It's midnight there in America. That's Phoenix also on the other side. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. How do we worship Lord Shiva, since he is none other than Lord Krishna in mode of ignorance? First of all, it's not that he is none other than Lord Krishna in mode of ignorance. Lord Shiva is not in a mode of ignorance. Lord Shiva is controlling the mode of ignorance. Say, somebody is controlling the electric department. Do we say that he is in electricity? He is electricity? No. He is controlling that. So that is the identity of Lord Shiva. He is controlling the mode of ignorance. He is not in the mode of ignorance. He is transcendental to the mode, all modes. He is even beyond goodness. And your question was, okay, how do we worship Lord Shiva? The best way to worship Lord Shiva is by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And when Lord Shiva hears that, he'll say, it's really nectar to my ears, what you have just chanted. Brajendra Sutta Das from Holland. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, I bow down unto your lotus feet. Please advise me how to express to Srila Prabhupada that a particular work undertaken is absolutely a service for his mission. And how would we know that Srila Prabhupada or Lord Krishna is pleased by our service? How to express to Srila Prabhupada that a particular work undertaken is absolutely a service for his mission? Well, Brajendra Sutta, the best way to understand is by asking yourself with what intention you are doing it. Like, is it for his pleasure? Is it for Krishna's pleasure? Or is it for your own personal pleasure or aggrandizement? Through that, do you want to please Krishna or you are trying to please yourself? So that is the way to understand whether whatever you're doing is the service for his mission. Another thing is that if you have doubt, then ask some other devotees, a senior devotee. You question or ask him what he thinks about that. That, like, what you are trying to do, whether it has the approval of the devotees. And how would we know that Srila Prabhupada or Krishna is pleased by our service? Don't worry about whether they are pleased. Just try your best. And like, for example, just consider a servant, in order to please the master, what does he do? A cook. Does he separately try to please the master, or he tries to cook the best possible way? Whatever he is supposed to do, he does it in the best possible way. But then he leaves it up to the master, whether he'll be pleased or not. And of course, when the master is pleased, he feels happy. So it is through our service that we please our master. Ajit Avatar Das from Gurgaon. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. We directly can't approach Lord Krishna to get mercy. We need to go through our acharyas. So if we worship Lord Shiva, are we indirectly worshipping Lord Krishna? Please help me to understand. Yes, you can approach Krishna through Lord Shiva, and the way to approach will be like when you are approaching Lord Shiva, you just tell him, my Lord, I know that you are so close to Krishna and Krishna is so dear, you are so dear to Krishna. So please bless me that I also can become a devotee of Krishna. Please give me devotion to Krishna. So that is the way to approach Lord Shiva. So when you are worshipping Lord Shiva, doesn't necessarily, as we mentioned, if we worship Lord Shiva, are we indirectly worshipping Lord Krishna? No, not necessarily. Ravan was worshipping Shiva, but he was not worshipping Krishna. Rather, he became Krishna's enemy and tried to steal his eternal consort. So it is the purpose and attitude that really will matter. So, Shankarshan Nitai Das from Mayapur, Mayapur based, Bhopal. Is he in Bhopal now, Shankarshan Nitai?
Yes, our student in this
Yeah, no, I know, but he said Bhopal.
Yeah, Bhopal base one boy is studying.
Oh, okay. But he's here. Where is he?
He is from here in Bhopal.
Oh, he's in Bhopal. That's what I meant. But wasn't he in Ujjain before? No. Okay. Hare Krishna Dandavat Maharaj. Like Lord Brahma, does Lord Shiva have any finite time span in this material world. Well, Lord Shiva's appearance in the material nature as Rudra has a finite time. But as Lord Shiva himself, he is beyond this material nature. He is in the spiritual sky. He, as Sadashiv, his original position is in the spiritual world. But Lord Shiva's manifestation in the material nature as Rudra, he appears through Lord Brahma's eyebrows. So that has a finite time, because that manifestation or appearance of Lord Shiva is in relation to the material nature, the universe. So when the universe is annihilated, he also goes back and merges into Sadashiv. Aniket from Bhopal. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. Kindly explain a little about second offense. What is the proper attitude or mood to approach him? So what's the second offense? To consider the names of the demigods like Lord Brahma and Shiva to be equal to or independent of. So the second offense itself is clarifying that to consider Lord Shiva to be equal to or independent of will be an inappropriate thing to do. As I said, like the milk became yogurt. Do you call the yogurt the milk? Do you say, I am drinking a glass of milk when you're holding a glass of yogurt? So there is a difference. So that difference should not be mistaken. Quite a few from Bhopal. Sahil, Hare Krishna Dandavat Maharaj, if we are not having sufficient time to chant 16 rounds nicely, can you reduce rounds and do them nicely? Well, Sahil, as I often tell you all, that when you are studying, I am not so concerned about your completing 16 rounds. When you are studying, be attentive to that purpose. When you are studying, focus yourself on your studies. Don't neglect your studies. After you finish your studies, after you have completed your studies, then when you have more free time, you can consider chanting 16 rounds. Don't neglect your studies for the sake of chanting 16 rounds. Radhika Raman Das from Juhu, Mumbai. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. How to overcome fear of death? Read Bhagavad Gita. Just properly read the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita and try to understand, and you'll be able to overcome the fear of death. Because by understanding the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you will see that you are not your body, but you are a spirit soul. You will understand that the death is to the body, the soul never dies. And you are the spirit soul, you are not your body. Death to the body takes place when the soul leaves the body. When you leave your material body, then your material body will die, but you will continue to exist. So by this understanding this properly, you will be able to overcome the fear of death. So any other question on this side? Yes?
When you worship Lord Shiva, is it one amongst the Rudra Shivas or Sadashiva?
Well, it will depend how you are looking at him. Like Rudra aspect of Lord Shiva is the destructive aspect. But generally, as a devotee, when we approach Lord Shiva, we approach him as the devotee aspect of Lord Shiva. Like in Vrindavan, he is Gopeshwar. So same Shiva, he is manifest here in his Jyotirlinga, and our understanding is this is original Lord Shiva from the spiritual world. Sadashiva.
One question, like, what's the difference between Sadashiva and Mahavishnu, who is lying down on the throne of the Lord?
What did I tell at the beginning? What's the difference between milk and yogurt?
But Sadashiva also is like...
Yeah, Sadashiva also is transformation. Is not Vishnu. You see, Shiva aspect is a transformation of Vishnu. And through Sadashiva, that is the original aspect, the Lord Shiva in the spiritual sky. And then that aspect is manifested in the material nature. But the purpose is to deal with the material nature. Yes?
Krishna, as you said that enjoyment mentality can be given by higher attention. So can you give some light on higher attention?
Tell me something that you want to enjoy. Then I can explain. Again, give some instance of what you want to enjoy. Huh? Attraction for women. Okay. So the higher taste is that when you recognize that these women are meant for Krishna's enjoyment, and you love Krishna. So if you love Krishna, then will you try to take away Krishna's property? So this is how you develop a genuine respect for women. They are Krishna's property. As Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, Kaminir kam nahi tabo dham, tahar malik kebal jadav. The women, it's not for women are not for your enjoyment. The proprietor of all the women is Jadav, Krishna. They are meant for Krishna's enjoyment. So now you want to serve Krishna, or you want to become Krishna's competitor? Then become a brahmachari. Remain a brahmachari rather. And yes, there is a need for a man and woman to get together, but that is for the purpose of procreation. Putrarthe kriyate bharja. One accepts a wife for the sake of procreation. Putrarthe. So that is the necessity. There is a need for progeny. There is a need for procreation. Right? That is Krishna's arrangement. And therefore Krishna is saying that when last for the sake of procreation is he himself. All right. And the thing is, and as you were saying, the higher taste will be to get the taste of brahmachari life. When you really get the taste of brahmachari life, that is the higher taste, and that by that you overcome that tendency. Yeah, at the back there is a question. Yeah.
Maharaj, we see this Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, both are the Guna avatars. But we also read in scriptures that any Jiva can become Lord Brahma by performing austerities or Aswamedha Yas. But as we see the exalted position of Lord Brahma, directly comes from the level of Lord Vishnu. And so the Lord Shiva, we see that both are the Guna avatars. So how can a Jiva become Lord Brahma as he cannot become Lord Shiva?
Yeah. You see, Gunavatar doesn't mean that both are of the same category. Gunavatar is because they are controlling the modes of material nature, therefore they are Gunavatar. Right? The Lord's expansion. Now, as you said, like Brahma, a Jiva can become a Brahma. But a Jiva cannot become Shiva. Shiva Tattva is separate from Jiva Tattva. It's a category of its own. Vishnu transforms into Shiva, Sambhu. But Vishnu himself doesn't transform into Brahma. He empowers a living entity to become Brahma. And if there is a lack of a qualified individual to assume that position, then sometimes Vishnu assumes the role of Brahma. But otherwise, generally it's a Jiva who becomes empowered to execute that job. Thank you. Yes.
As the role of Mahavishnu is specified in the scriptures for expanding the material universe.
Yeah.
Is there any law specified for Sadashiva?
What's that?
Is any law specified for Sadashiva?
Any law? Role. Yeah, as I said, like the role is to deal with the material nature. Maya. You see, Brahma is the creating aspect. Right? And I'm sorry, Vishnu aspect, the Lord's expansion in order to deal with the material nature with the maintenance aspect of it. Right?
What the difference is Sadashiva and Lord Shiva?
What's the difference?
Difference between Sadashiva and Lord Shiva.
Yeah, as I said, the first, say when the Lord transforms himself into Lord Shiva, that aspect is in the spiritual world. That is Sadashiva. But then, as he projects himself, manifests, see, in the material nature, the Rudra, the destructive aspect, is not conducted by himself directly. He manifests himself through the eyebrows, through between the eyebrows of Brahma, and that is the aspect of Rudra, which is the destructive aspect. But there is another aspect of Lord Shiva, that is Shambhu. That aspect is his glancing towards the material nature. And as a result of that, the living entities are projected onto the material nature. So that is not the destructive aspect. That is the projection aspect. Ja sambhutam api tatha samupaiti karjan.
Expansion of Sadashiva.
Yeah. Expansion of Sadashiva, right. Yeah. Sadashiva is the original aspect in the spiritual world, and that has a very little difference between Vishnu and Sadashiva. Example is Advaita Acharya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu, is an incarnation of Sadashiva. Right? The thing is, depends from which perspective you are looking at him. When you look at him from the spiritual, from that aspect, that side, is Mahavishnu. We are looking at him from this side, you are seeing him as Lord Sadashiva. Hare Krishna. Okay, so, last question at the back there. हिंदी में पूछना चाहते हो? ओके, पूछो।
मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि आपने कभी बताया था कि भगवान को किसी करने के लिए भक्तों को करना चाहिए।
अब सुनाई नहीं दे रहे, तुम सामने आ जाओ थोड़ा।
तो आपने बोला था कि भगवान को खुश करने के लिए उनके भक्तों को खुश करना चाहिए।
क्या करना चाहिए?
उनके भक्तों को खुश करना चाहिए।
ओ हाँ हाँ हाँ।
तो हमें तो जो सेवा करते हैं वो पूरा दिन सेवा में रहना करता है। तो कभी ऐसा होता है कि बहुत सारे भक्त हम लोग नाराज भी रहते हैं कि हम उनके साथ जैसा हम कैसे करें वो नाराज ना हो।
तो उनको पूछना, बोलना कि नाराज मत होना। हाँ, और तुम्हारी तरफ से जितना संभव उनको संतुष्टि विधान करने की कोशिश करना। ठीक है, अपने साथ वापस में मिलजुल के भगवान को सेवा करते रहो। ठीक है। क्या लास्ट वर्ड से क्या हुआ, फिर से बताना।
हमें इतना ज्ञान नहीं है कि हम ऐसा बात कर सकते हैं वो खुश रहे। हमारे इतना ज्ञान नहीं है ऐसा कि इस तरह खुश करना चाहिए।
ज्ञान का जरूरत नहीं है। सेवा करते रहो। हाँ? ठीक है। कहाँ रहते हो तुम? बेस में? ओके ओके। तो यहाँ कौन नाराज हो रहा है तुम्हारे? ठीक है, अगर कोई नाराज हुआ है तो भक्ति प्रेम महाराज को बोलना। हरे कृष्ण। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे हरे। शील प्रभुपाद की जय।